oil prices keep creeping higher, and so does my gasoline bill as well. Is there any end in sight?
Well, obviously, the big concern right now for the market is the U.S. supply disruptions. We have not fully recovered from the impact of Hurricane Ida, both for oil and natural gas. And the focus is now on the latest storm. Will we have further supply shut-ins? Obviously, everyone is also watching the demand picture. I mean, U.S. gasoline demand remains very strong. China, which implemented lockdown restrictions, over the summer, looks like it's not having a big impact on mobility there. So Chinese demand is holding up strong as well. So the picture does look very solid for oil. Big looming questions, though. If oil moves higher, OPEC is now meeting every month. Will OPEC come under pressure from the White House to put more barrels on the market? China and India are already tapping their strategic stockpiles to try to cool off prices. So I do think watching the response from consuming nations will be very important as well.
So, Halima, if you take a look at the way that things are shaping out with the price action, is it more balanced in your mind, given what you expect with demand and the COVID Delta variant, given what we see with supply? Are these prices justified at this level, or are they due for any kind of a pullback anytime soon?
Well, I think these prices are justified at this level, but there are really important factors to watch. Some analysts are talking about oil moving significantly higher next year. I think it's worth bearing in mind that we still have 5 million barrels plus of OPEC production off the market. And so if OPEC decides that more barrels are needed, they have this monthly mechanism and they can put more of these barrels on the market. I also think we should be watching, though, if we're thinking about a breakout to the upside. Do we potentially see some type of major supply disruption beyond what we're seeing from storms in the United States? Libyan production has struggled. Do we see something else in terms of a major outage that propels prices higher? That's what I would be looking for if we're thinking about moving materially higher in terms of oil prices.
So if we're talking about this kind of move higher in oil prices, materially or otherwise, is there a relative advantage in the markets right now to either the U.S. shale oil and gas producers versus those people in OPEC plus? I wonder whether or not it's good for our producers here in the U.S. to pump more barrels out. Saudi Arabia and others are probably thinking the same thing right now. Isn't it a time where you could take advantage of these high prices because demand is there?
Well, certainly I think shale producers are looking to ramp up production, but they remain under pressure from investors for discipline. The question is, what does OPEC do? Because they're the ones right now, again, they're sitting on 5 million barrels plus of sort of dry powder in the oil market that they can put on if needed. And the question is, at what point does Saudi Arabia decide they need to cool things off? I think that, potentially concerns about demand destruction might kick in around $80 Brent. I don't think right now they're going to be particularly concerned at this moment about demand destruction. But again, they're meeting every single month, so they have the ability to adjust quickly. One other wildcard factor to watch is what happens with Iran. Iran is sitting on potentially 1 million extra barrels of oil exports. There had been a view that there was going to be some progress in getting back into the nuclear agreement. It looks like talks are going to continue, but there's no imminent sign yet of a diplomatic breakthrough that would bring those Iranian barrels back on the market. Those barrels stay off the market is tighter next year.